So you can not like our team, okay, you can not like me, but when you say things that you probably should be saying in your home, on the phone, or texting out in public, and you're being heard, and you are a national writer for our sport, it just confirms what we already know.
For over 2 decades, Dawn Staley has been a symbol of strength, excellence, and grace in basketball. Her legacy is not confined to trophies or accolades. It's written in the respect she commands from peers, the players she's mentored, and the countless young women who see in her a reflection of their own potential. But even the strongest voices reach a point where silence feels like surrender. This week, that moment arrived. What started as a debate about basketball morphed into something far more personal and painful. The comments allegedly made by Stephen A. Smith didn't just sting. They exposed a rift that has long existed beneath the surface of sports media. Who gets to speak with passion and who gets labeled as too much?
And to be quite honest with you, I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with college basketball. Matter of fact, one of the best people that I've ever met, or one of the best women I've ever met in professional or collegiate sports. I love her. But I didn't appreciate this article that I read.
Staley's metaphor comparing the Las Vegas A's victory to a body slam on white supremacy wasn't about dividing fans. It was about reclaiming space. It was a celebration of black excellence in a league where representation still carries weight. But when her words were met with derision and reportedly vulgar mockery, the subtext became impossible to ignore. For days, she stayed silent. It wasn't weakness, it was calculation. Those close to her say she wrestled with the decision to speak at all. She's seen how the media twists emotion into spectacle. But as memes surfaced and pundits snickered, something inside her shifted. Enough was enough. When she finally went live on Instagram, viewers could see the exhaustion in her eyes. Her voice cracked but didn't falter. She spoke with the clarity of someone who has carried too much for too long. Her message wasn't rehearsed. It was raw.
So, watch what you say when you're in public and you're talking about my team in particular.
She didn't call names. She didn't curse. She simply laid bare a truth that cut through the noise. The hurt doesn't come from strangers. It comes from those who should know better. To hear that from a black man, she said, that's what broke me. The emotion in her tone wasn't anger. It was heartbreak. Within minutes, her words reverberated across social platforms. Fans clipped her quotes, players reposted her video, and hashtags like #StandWithDawn and #RespectBlackWomen took over timelines. It wasn't just a show of support. It was a collective exhale from people who felt unseen for too long. Inside ESPN, the reaction was reportedly immediate. Producers whispered about crisis meetings while social media teams scrambled to contain the fallout. The network has weathered controversies before, but this one struck at something foundational: credibility and conscience. Stephen A. Smith's attempt to defend himself the next morning only deepened the wound. His insistence that his words was taken out of context felt hollow to many. Context doesn't erase disrespect. It only reframes it. The apology that fans were waiting for never quite arrived.
Me to apologize or want me to correct myself, you can go to hell. I'm not doing that. I'm not going.
Meanwhile, the WNBA world rallied. Aya Wilson, Candace Parker, and other stars posted messages of solidarity. Even players from rival teams found unity and outrage. They saw in Staley not just a coach, but a mirror reflecting the struggles of being a black woman in a space that celebrates your talent, but often polices your tone. Sports writers began unpacking the moment. Op-eds appeared within hours, dissecting the intersection of race, gender, and media power. One writer described it best. Dawn Staley didn't just cry on camera. She broke the fourth wall of sports broadcasting for viewers. The live stream became more than a reaction. It was a reckoning. People weren't watching a celebrity meltdown. They were witnessing a human being reclaim her dignity in real time. Her vulnerability became her armor. By morning, networks replayed her words like gospel. Each clip carried weight because it wasn't performative. It was truth spoken without PR filters or rehearsed statements. Staley wasn't looking for sympathy. She was demanding accountability. What happened next went beyond sports. Cultural commentators, activists, and everyday fans began connecting the dots between Staley's experience and broader social patterns. How often are black women expected to absorb disrespect quietly? How often are their emotions weaponized against them? Her tears for many became a symbol not of fragility but of authenticity. She wasn't breaking down. She was breaking through the wall of performative professionalism that often silences women of color in powerful positions. Behind the scenes, Staley reportedly received hundreds of private messages from colleagues and even critics. Some apologized, others simply said, "Thank you." They knew what it takes to go on camera, expose your pain, and still stand tall. The irony of it all is that Staley's original metaphor about triumph over white supremacy wasn't meant to spark division. It was meant to highlight unity, strength, and progress. But the backlash only proved her point. For some, the message of empowerment is threatening when it doesn't fit neatly within comfort zones. Now ESPN faces more than just public scrutiny. It faces a cultural audit. Viewers are asking hard questions. Who controls the narrative? Whose voices get defended? And why is empathy always negotiable when it comes to black women? Through it all, Staley has maintained her grace. Her composure, even in pain, has reminded the world why she's not just a coach, she's a leader. Her strength doesn't roar, it resonates. By the time the camera stopped rolling, one truth had crystallized. This wasn't a moment of weakness. It was a declaration of worth. Staley didn't crumble under the weight of disrespect. She forced everyone else to confront it. And as the headlines continue to roll, her message lingers: respect is not optional. Not for champions, not for women, not for anyone. Dawn Staley's voice has always carried power. Not the kind that shouts to be heard, but the kind that makes silence feel heavy. When she finally spoke out after days of restraint, it wasn't a rant. It was a revelation. Her trembling words exposed an uncomfortable truth about how quickly respect can evaporate when a black woman challenges the status quo. The moment wasn't about basketball anymore. It was about humanity. About how the same people who praise your excellence can turn around and weaponize your passion. The live stream wasn't polished. And that's exactly why it mattered. It was real. A coach, a champion, a woman standing in her living room, heart on her sleeve, telling the world that pain and pride can coexist and that one doesn't cancel out the other. What followed was a cultural earthquake. Staley's tears echoed across the sports world, forcing everyone, fans, analysts, executives, to confront their own complicity in the cycle of disrespect. Her vulnerability became a rallying cry. The hashtags weren't just digital noise. They were signals of solidarity. Players from every corner of the league, even those who had once been rivals, joined forces behind her. It wasn't about taking sides. It was about taking a stand. For once, the conversation wasn't led by corporate statements or PR-filtered apologies. It was driven by authenticity, and authenticity is contagious. Even those who had stayed silent before were now finding their voices, realizing that silence too has consequences. In the days that followed, Staley didn't demand an apology, nor did she chase redemption. She simply existed, and that in itself was resistance. Her composure became its own form of protest. The world saw that her strength wasn't measured by how well she endured disrespect, but by how she refused to normalize it. She turned a moment of humiliation into a movement for truth. ESPN can call emergency meetings. Stephen A. Smith can offer explanations and critics can twist narratives, but they can't undo what's been said in motion. Dawn Staley reminded everyone that when a woman like her finally speaks from the heart, you don't just hear her words, you feel them. And that's the thing about Dawn Staley. She doesn't play the game, she changes it. In a world where noise drowns out meaning, she delivered something the sports world wasn't ready for. Accountability with emotion. Her tears became testimony. Her truth became a torch. And now the industry has no choice but to face the fire. Because once a woman like Dawn Staley stops holding back, the old rules no longer apply. She's not breaking down, she's breaking through. And as her words continue to echo far beyond the court, one thing is undeniable. Dawn Staley didn't just respond.